Hello, we're happy to see you here with us. MonIc is a service that enables you to sync your activities on Monday.com with your iCount account. In this guide, we will show you how to customize the MonIc service to work with your current boards. For MonIc to function properly with your boards, we need to ensure that certain settings, such as columns, column types, and automations, are set correctly. If your boards contain elements mentioned in this guide and they fit the definition, you can use them. In this guide, we will create most of these elements. In this guide, we will cover setting required columns on boards, syncing your Monday.com boards with iCount, setting up automations, and managing documents and payments. MonIc service generally uses 3 boards: clients or contacts, projects, and inventory. For this guide, we have prepared 3 sample boards and will show you what to do and how to do it so the MonIc service will be implemented on your boards. Let's start with inventory board and create a column for description of type long text. Next, we'll add a column for inventory items that are available in stock. It will be of type number. Now, we will create the cost column. This column represents what it costs your organization to produce this item. This column will be of the type numbers. The next column will be price. This represents the amount your organization wants to collect for the item. This column will be of the type numbers. For inventory, we require only one value in a status column. Let's relate to the existing column and add the value for our service. The value must be written exactly as described here. Imported from iCount, and it is case sensitive, so please make sure you add it this way. Any inventory item on iCount will have its ID. For your convenience and real-time tracking, for example, if you create a new inventory item, the iCount ID will automatically be updated on your inventory board. This column will be of type text. SKU. Let's create a column for SKU and it will be of type text. If you do not fill it up, MonIc will use the item line ID for SKU. Now, let's move on to the item ID. We'll incorporate a Monday.com column of type item ID. You can retain its default name, but for clarity, we'll rename it as Alt SKU in this tutorial. We're nearly done with the inventory board. We'll revisit it shortly to implement one automation rule. Let's move on to configuring the client/contacts board to seamlessly integrate with the MonIc service. Alright, since we already have the company column for company name, let's now add another column called company ID of type text. This is not Monday.com ID or iCount ID, it's the actual company's ID. Moving on to the next step, let's tackle the status. You can use the existing current status column. The contacts requires only one status value, imported from iCount. Just remember, this value is case sensitive. The existing phone and email columns for clients are suitable for our purposes and require no changes. Next, let's focus on your client ID at iCount. MonIc will synchronize the IDs between iCount and Monday.com, so we need to add a column for that purpose. This column will be of text type. Adding the payment page URL column is the final step on the contacts board. We will add a new column for the payment page URL. This column is essential as it will be used to set the URL for the payment page, which will be referenced later. The payment page URL facilitates transactions between you and your client. The column type will be text. Now, let's set up the columns for the final board, which is the projects board, specifically for client projects. The first column we will set up is the description column, which will be of a text type. Let's drag it over here. We already have a connected board column linked to contacts. First and foremost, it's very important to set this column to disallow multiple selections. We will use this column and attach a mirror column to it, which will display the company name. Let's add a mirror column connected to the customers/clients board and link it to the company name. Now, every time we select a contact, we will be presented with their company's name. The status for a project line is more elaborate than what we use for the inventory and clients boards, but not overly complex. You can use one of the existing status columns, but we recommend creating a dedicated status column specifically for MonIc. Here are the statuses required for MonIc. Please set them exactly as shown, noting that they are case sensitive. We will use the status done and set it as ready. Additionally, we will add the following statuses: paid, offer, deal, indirect, receipt, invoice, refund, order, and last one, pay page URL created. For statuses, you can choose any color you prefer, but please ensure the values are set exactly as instructed. Let's create another connected board column, this time linking it to the inventory board. Now, let's create a mirror column related to the inventory board. This column will mirror the available items in stock from the inventory board, and we will call it in stock. We will create another mirror column related to the inventory board. This column will mirror the price of the inventory item. And let's call it price. Let's not forget to disable the multiple selection option on the connected board column. We'll continue with the document ID at iCount, which will be of the text type. This column will be updated by MonIc with data from iCount. Now, we will add a column next to the price column. This column will be of the number type and should be named quantity. It will set the amount of items to be purchased for the item on this project line. Before we finish this part, let's tidy up by setting the auto value for a few columns. This will ensure that first-time automations do not fail. We will do this on the projects board for the quantity column by setting its auto value to 0. We will do the same on the inventory board for the following columns: inventory, in stock, cost, and price. We will set all of these to 0. Now, we need to establish a common ground between your Monday.com boards and iCount. We have created a specific process to help you do this easily. Go to your Contact/Clients board and open the item view for any of the clients there. Add a new view from the installed apps and select MonIc. iCount Client View. You can go ahead and set it as the default view. This is the screen you will see at this stage. We're not discussing using the MonIc template. If you want to do that, there is a link at the bottom where you can learn how. This tutorial is about customizing MonIc service on your boards. So, let's get started. Now, we need to map all the boards and fields we have worked on so far so that the MonIc service can sync and update iCount. This involves relating boards and fields. On this screen, you will select the relevant board and then attach the relevant fields. Let's start with clients. For clients, we set the contacts board. Once it's selected, a list of fields will be displayed, and we will need to relate the fields from the boards to them. We use company ID on the board, so let's relate it to company ID. For company name, we set it as company on the board. We utilize the priority column for the status value on contacts. Phone and email are straightforward. We set client ID at iCount on the board, so we will relate it to iCount client ID. The last column for this board will be pay URL, which will be related to pay page URL. Next, we will handle the inventory by selecting the inventory board we prepared. For the description field, we set it as description on the board, so let's select that. For inventory available, we set the column inventory in stock on the board. Cost and price are straightforward. For inventory status, we prepare the status column on the board. iCount item ID will be related with iCount item ID. SKU with SKU. Default SKU will be related to alt SKU. For the last board, projects, let's select the contacts projects board. We prepared MonIc status for the status on MonIc. The contacts connected board is client on our board. The inventory connected board is inventory on our board. Quantity is quantity. And the last one, iCount doc ID, will be related to related doc ID. Let's go ahead and save. Okay, we're in the final stage of customizing MonIc service on your boards. We have 2 automations left to set up. Let's start with the inventory board. Select the inventory board and click on Automate. Then, click on Integration and look for the MonIc iCount trigger. Select the rule when any column changes, update inventory at iCount. Finally, click Add to Board. Now, we will go to the Projects board. This time, select the second rule, when a column changes, update iCount. For the column, look for the quantity column and select it. Then, click Add to Board. Congratulations! We have finished customizing MonIc service on your boards. Let's play around and see what we can do. First, let's create a new inventory item with its stock, cost, and price. You can see that this inventory item has automatically received an ID from iCount, in this case 8. Now, let's see what happened in iCount. Let's switch to the console of the connected iCount account. In there, we will navigate to inventory. You will see a new item is there, the item we created on the Monday.com board. Let's see what happens on the Contacts/Clients board. If you add the company ID to a client and open the item view, a client will automatically be created for you in iCount. Here is the same client in iCount. Let's check its documents. We can see this client has no documents related to it. Back to our boards, let's create a new item on projects and relate it to the same client. Now, we will relate an inventory item. Let's use the one we created earlier. Finally, let's set the quantity. You can see the stock availability change automatically. Let's go to our client and process this project item. We can see that there are no items to process. This is because MonIc will only process project items with the MonIc status set to ready. Let's go back to the project line and set the status to ready. If we check the client again, we can see we have something to process. The first thing we can do is create an offer or proceed to payment. We will create a new offer. Add the appendix, then click Generate Offer. A new document is created. The document is of type offer, and its number is 4000. You can click the link to view the document. If we check the item we just processed on Projects board, we will see its status has changed automatically to offer. We can see that we now have related document ID, which is 4000. Let's check the customer on the iCount console again. Now we will see that it has a document related to it, which is the document we created on the Monday.com board. Let's see what else we can do regarding document management. Open the item view for the client, and you will see the document we created. Now, click the Manage option. Here we can see all the details about the document and all possible conversions for it. Let's convert it to an order. We can see that the document with ID 4000 is closed and a new order with ID 8000 is created and can be further managed. We can also see that document 8000 is based on document 4000. Let's convert it again, this time to a deal. Once again, we see a new instance on top of the complete evolution of the document. Let's check the client's documents on the iCount console again. We can see all 3 instances of documents on iCount as well. Now, let's look into payments. Before we proceed, we'll spend a little more time in iCount and create a new payment page. We will call it New Pay Page. Now we will add a new project line for the same client. Let's not forget to set its status to ready. Next, we will open the client item view and see that we have a new line to process. We will go ahead and click Payment. On the next screen, we first need to select a payment page, so let's select the page we just created on the iCount console. We will have 2 options. Let's start with Save Pay Page URL on board, and go back to Direct Pay in a bit. If we check the line we just processed on the projects board, we can see its status has changed to Pay Page URL created. Where can we access this URL? On the Contacts board, at the end of the line under the column Pay Page URL. Let's create yet another project line for the same client and follow the same steps as the previous example. This time, however, we will use direct payment. This time, after we selected the payment page, we will click Proceed to Pay. Once we will do this, we will be redirected to the payment page. We hope this guide was useful for you. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions, feedback, or to schedule a live demo. Thank you, and we hope you will enjoy the MonIc service.